Stranger Things is one of Netflix's best shows. I'd even go as far as to say it's among one of the best shows ever made. It should be up there with Breaking Bad, Mad Men, The Sopranos, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yes, it's one of the best shows ever made. F***ing fight me, nerd. It's extremely compelling, from the highly interesting and lovable characters to the astonishing and unique world they created. There's a quote from the Clone Wars and Mandalorian creator Dave Filoni that I think really resonates with this series. When discussing the dissection of the Western film genre, Filoni states that Westerns have a beautiful simplicity, yet really underlying complex characterizations. I feel like that quote really resonates with Stranger Things as a whole, mostly because, if you really think about it, the secret to Stranger Things' success is because of its beautiful simplicity, mixed with its underlying complexity. If you really want to get into the secret of Stranger Things' success, look no further than the 80s, and maybe a little bit into the 70s and 90s too. Stranger Things wears its references on its sleeve loud and proud. If you boil down Stranger Things to its base elements, you start to realize it's simply an amalgamation of all the best elements from some of the best movies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Alien inspired the atmospheric effects seen in the Upside Down. The Demogorgon egg is obviously a play on the Xenomorph egg. The whole sequence of the soldiers clearing out the tunnels in Season 2 was pretty clearly a nod to Aliens. Will's possession all throughout Season 2 was a nod to Reagan from The Exorcist. It, Stand By Me, and The Goonies inspired the whole dynamic of the kids and their friendship, as well as the backdrop of them battling an interdimensional monster and walking along a lot of train tracks. I mean, shit, they even got Sean Astin for one season.
It's a map. It's a map of Hawkins.
What are you doing? Hey, Mike found the map!
11 is an homage to Carrie in Firestarter by being a little girl with amazing powers. In fact, there are tons of little Stephen King references laced all throughout the show. Season 3 had a not-so-subtle reference to The Terminator with an Arnold Schwarzenegger Russian look-alike, and Season 4 also with its not-so-subtle reference to The Nightmare on Elm Street with Vecna. You get the idea, it has a lot of references. In fact, if you want a full breakdown from the source, I highly recommend this video from Wired, where the Duffer Brothers go over most of the references from the first 3 seasons. What's really interesting is what these references do is create a feeling of nostalgia in the audience. You and I all know that nostalgia blinds. Nostalgia makes us happy, brings us together, and makes us remember the good old days. Nostalgia is a powerful drug. And what Stranger Things does is take that nostalgic element from your favorite movies and put a new coat of paint on it and put it in the show. Clearly, Stranger Things is something new. We've never seen the Upside Down or Demogorgons or Steve the Hare Harrington, but we've seen something like it before. Because it's skirting the line of new and old, our brains get this dose of nostalgia mixed with an element of excitement for something new. It's honestly brilliant if you really think about it. But I think the show's success goes deeper than just references and nostalgia. It's the characters that truly make this show. Every character in the show is genuinely fantastic, from the kids to the teens to the adults. Each group in itself is special and interesting. When the attention shifts to another group, you don't groan and go to your phone until your favorite character comes back. How often can you say that happens in a show? Most of the time, there's always one character that you just can't be bothered with. Every character and group in Stranger Things is interesting. If anything, you don't groan when they focus on one character, you groan when the characters are not together. And that seems to be the show's formula post-Season 1. Season 1 establishes all the characters in the group dynamics. Then in Season 2 and so on, they divide the group in different ways each time. Focusing on the main group specifically, first we had Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and 11. Then we had Will and Mike in one group, and Dustin, Lucas, and Max in the other. Then, Season 3, you have Max, 11, Will, Lucas, and Mike. Then you had Dustin, Steve, and Robin. Now in Season 4, you have Will, Mike, 11, Jonathan, and Argyle in one group, then Lucas, Dustin, Max, Robin, Steve, and Nancy in the other. They always come together in the end, but how they get there is different each season. If you look at that formula of dividing the base group and then look at some of the highest rated sequels of all time, then you start to notice a trend. The showrunners obviously looked at that and took that into account when creating each season. Each season, every character grows and evolves with someone new, and because of that, we don't get stale one-note characters. Everyone has something to offer in terms of growth. It's the characters that make this show. If we didn't care about the majority of them, then I don't think the setting and plot would save the show. That's not to say they're bad by any means, it's honestly the complete opposite. However, the characters, setting, and plot all work in tandem with one another to create a fantastic final product. Each season of Stranger Things is genuinely fantastic. Even the few episodes considered to be lesser or simply bad are far better than most shows out there. I care about the characters. I want to see what happens to Mike, Lucas, Dustin, Will, Max, and Eleven. I want to know more about the Upside Down and the monsters within. I want to see what references I could spot this season and how they will adapt them for the show. So you want to know the secret to Stranger Things' success? Well, if you take the idea that Stranger Things is a combination of all the greatest elements from some of the best movies of the 80s and throw in a cast of amazingly great and complex characters, then it's no wonder you have a fantastic show. If you combined all of those elements together, then you have, without a doubt, a recipe for success.